Easing of face mask mandate to be considered. Russia to achieve its noble objectives. Rainfest Festival returns live. Those are the headlines for tonight. I am Lorenzo Isaac and this is TVS Nightline. The Ministry of Health (MOH) and the Sarawak Disaster Management Committee (SDMC) have been urged to study other countries' COVID-19 pandemic handling approach, including scrapping the face mask mandate. According to Sarawak Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Minister Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said Malaysia's COVID-19 strategy seems to be rigid compared with other countries despite having allowed most economic sectors to be open and entered the endemic phase.
Now we're going into the endemic stage. Things are getting better. Even the Pasar Ramadan is already open. All the shopping complexes are open. So there's nothing much to worry. As it is, probably Malaysia is still a little bit rigid on this. Other countries are totally buka, no need to pakai mask. But of course, whether you want to wear it or not is up to you. We will go into that phase, hopefully soon. Because personally, I wouldn't want to wear a mask if given a choice. That's how it is.
Meanwhile, there are many countries have eased or lifted COVID-19 restrictions, including the use of face masks. Among them are the United States, Denmark, France, Greece, Singapore, Iceland, Spain, Italy, and South Korea. Previously, on March 29th, Singaporeans are no longer using face masks in outdoor settings, although it is still compulsory when they are indoors.
Russian President Vladimir Putin recently made a strong remark that left many stunned. During an award ceremony, Putin described Moscow's military operation in Ukraine as having achieved its noble objectives in order to protect Russia from an inevitable threat.
Продолжать даже терпеть этот геноцид, продолжавшийся в течение 8 лет, просто невозможно. Это первое. А второе, Украину начали превращать в плацдарм, к сожалению для нас, в плацдарм антироссийский. Начали выращивать там имевшиеся уже давно ростки национализма и неонацизма. Вы знаете, если вы обратили внимание, я сказал об этом в одном из своих публичных обращений. Специально выращивали вот эту поросль неонацистскую. И столкновение с этими силами для России было неизбежно. Они только выбирали время для...
At the same time, Putin made a stern warning to Western countries that attempts to cripple Moscow would be futile, as the country could achieve great success, such as its Soviet space program, even when the country was put in a difficult situation.
Что касается дистанционного зондирования Земли, то, крупный проект по производству и запуску специальных космических аппаратов. Объединили для этого научно-промышленный потенциал России и ведущих предприятий Белоруссии, которые всегда славились еще с советских времен своими компетенциями в производстве высокоточного оборудования сложнейших оптоэлектронных и радиотехнических систем. Еще одним важным знаковым направлением нашего взаимодействия станет совместное формирование инфраструктуры, которая гарантирует союзному государству независимый выход в космос. Уже в самое ближайшее время рабочие и специалисты, компании и предприятия Беларуси получат возможность участвовать в развитии города Циолковский и космодрома «Восток».
Putin added that Russia will never depend on the West after the United States and its allies have imposed crippling sanctions to punish Putin for his special military operation in Ukraine. He also said Russia does not intend to be isolated, as it is impossible to severely isolate a vast country like Russia. Hence, the country will continue to work with its allies.
The Rainforest World Music Festival RWMF is set to make a comeback via hybrid format after a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Sarawak State Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Minister Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said the festival would only sell 5,000 tickets per day due to the safety precautions and the stipulated standard operating procedures.
Honor and pride, I'm happy to announce that the most awaited international music festival in Malaysia, that is the Rainforest World Music Festival, or in short RWMF, is back. And this time it's a very special one as we celebrate the festival's 25th legendary Rainforest celebration.
Abdul Karim said this after launching this year's festival at Borneo Culture Museum in Kuching today. Meanwhile, he said as the country is now entering the endemic phase, they will make sure all physical concerts adhere strictly to the guidelines of the Malaysian National Security Council (MKN) and Sarawak Disaster Management Committee (SDMC) to ensure the safety of the concert goers.
Target kita, there are 3 nights. Our target is about 4,000 to 5,000 per night. 4,000 to 5,000 per night. Per night. That means for 3 nights it will be about 15,000.
Labelled as the most awaited international music festival in Malaysia, this year's event will also celebrate the festival's 25th anniversary since it started in 1998 with the theme 25th Legendary Rainforest Celebration.
Rural areas make up a large part of Sarawak. However, satellite broadbands are still being widely used. The Sarawak Development Institute has come up with initiatives to address the rural connectivity as the goal is to improve the quality of broadband services.
Associate Professor of the University of Technology UTS Malaysia, Tariq Zaman, said that through the Digital Inclusion Policy Literacy Program PACT, it'll help solve the 3 challenges rural areas are facing, including policy, supply and demand challenges.
We start coming up with our own program that how we are going to settle or how we are going to address those challenges with our partnership with other international collaborators and local. So one of the part is on the policy side. So that is where we start working on identifying the gaps in policy and programs, and then also to come up some decision support system which can help the decision maker to see that what is the current status of internet in the localities.
One of the initiatives proposed at the Brown Bag Talk organized by the Sarawak Development Institute SDI is to establish a community of networks in Malaysia. This is done to find a suited digital infrastructure for the community.
Developing a community network in the first community network here in Malaysia with Bawang Asan community to establish the first community network, which includes the combination of training of the community to better understand and then the community to plan the digital infrastructure, how it should be placed, where it should be placed.
Another initiative planned is to improve the quality of service monitoring and reporting for user experience by refining the Jendela map experience. This is by allowing users to upload their own network status so the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission MCMC and local authorities will be able to understand what the users are experiencing. Additionally, the MCMC allocated 3.2 billion ringgit last year to help improve the quality of broadband services in rural areas through proposed initiatives.
No mountain is too high for Inspector Kanang Usin as he aims to be the first Sarawakian to conquer Mount Everest. Kanang is set to make history after he was selected to be part of the 2022 Keluarga Malaysia Everest Exploration Team.
Memang sebab saya tak ada pengalaman yang luas dalam pendakian, tetapi saya rasa bertuah, bercampur, berdebar pun ada dan rasa sangat bangga kerana dipilih oleh Ketua Pendaki sebagai salah seorang pendaki untuk melengkapkan keluarga Malaysia Everest yang kami akan bawa.
The Bintulu-born lad also hopes to inspire more youths to take up similar challenges in the future. As the sole Sarawakian to achieve this feat, Kanang was presented with some assistance from the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. The contribution was presented by Deputy Minister in the Premier of Sarawak's Department for Corporate Affairs and UKAS, Datuk Abdullah Saidul, on behalf of Abang Johari in a simple ceremony in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday.
Mewakili Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak dan Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Sarawak menyampaikan ucapan syabas dan tahniah kepada mereka atas inisiatif ini, dan beliau mungkin seluruh warga negeri Sarawak mendoakan supaya perjalanan ekspedisi mereka berjalan lancar dan insya-Allah mereka akan sampai di puncak seperti yang diharapkan, dan juga sebab uniknya kumpulan ekspedisi keluarga Malaysia ini ialah mereka mewakili berbagai etnik dan juga termasuk OKU.
Earlier, Kanang, together with the other Altitude Exploration Club members, also paid a courtesy call on Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Sri Alexander Nantalinggi.
According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, Sarawak recorded an increase in exports worth 3 billion ringgit in February this year compared to February 2021. Chief Statistician of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzir Mahidin, said Sarawak's total export jumped to 8.4 billion ringgit in February 2022, an increase of 56% year-on-year.
He said that this makes Sarawak the fourth major exporter state, with a contribution of 8.2% in the import-export data by state. Higher exports were also recorded for states in Penang, Kedah, Wilayah Persekutuan Labuan, and Selangor. Meanwhile, he said that Sarawak's total imports also recorded a two-digit increase in February 2022, with an increase of 66.9% year-on-year. Malaysia's overall trade in February 2022 was 184.8 billion ringgit, an increase of 17.5% year-on-year.
Welcome back. In an effort to elevate the creative industry, associations related to the industry needs to be administered professionally in order to maintain its professionalism. One such instance is the creation of the royalty system to take care of the creative industry community, such as the actors.
Kalau nak dijadikan itu sebagai satu profession, saya cadangkan supaya ada dia punya board of governors yang mengawal etika, yang mengawal profession, yang mengawal, dan kalau itu ada, barangkali kaedah nak membayar royalty kepada mereka yang diiktiraf, a licensed actor ataupun a professional actor. Jadi lebih mudah kita nak regulate. Kalau open-ended, everybody claim dia pelakon.
At the same time, Anwar said it should also be open to new ideas, as each creative outcome has a specific period, and those who are unsuccessful in previous pitching sessions could modify the content as appropriate.
The development of the automotive high-tech valley AHTV is able to make Malaysia a hub for electric vehicle manufacturers and component suppliers, not only in the ASEAN market, but also globally.
Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this development could also attract the interest of foreign investors, as it has the potential to strengthen the automotive world ecosystem.
Jika di negara lain seperti Amerika Syarikat boleh bangga dengan Detroit, sebuah daerah yang terkenal dengan industri pembuatan keretanya, tidak mustahil satu hari nanti Tanjung Malim akan dikenali sebagai hub permotoran yang hebat di rantau ini.
Additionally, he said Tanjung Malim will also witness an economic overflow from the AHTV development project activities, which is expected to generate 370,000 job opportunities during construction and 160,000 when operating in the future.
Pembangunan lain yang mempunyai rantaian ekonominya seperti taman perindustrian dan pembangunan hartanah bagi tujuan komersial secara keseluruhannya berpotensi menjana sebanyak 32 bilion ringgit menjelang tahun 2030.
The AHTV development has been proposed over 10 years ago to strengthen Proton's manufacturing operations from Shah Alam, Selangor to Tanjung Malim. Therefore, it is more centralized and able to increase productivity. The launch of AHTV will be a benchmark for another national development that has a high impact and drives national success holistically. He said with the capability of DRB HICOM and the assistance of coordination with the relevant government agencies as well as the funds distributed, it can be a mega project for a great automotive industrial area in the region.
DG is confident of delivering a robust performance in 2022. That's according to Chief Executive Officer Alburn Murty. He said that DG will continue to bring best value product propositions and innovative digital solutions to the market.
On another matter, Murty said the proposed merger of Celcom Axiata and DG's wholly owned unit, DG Telecommunications, was announced last year and is now proceeding as planned. 5G networks are among the critical infrastructure in the development of this digital ambition, and DG is committed to supporting the government's My Digital initiative. To date, DG has 10.3 million consumers and business customers, and it is offering mobile connectivity, internet services, and digital solutions through the 4G long-term Evolution network.
The Royal Malaysian Police PDRM never carried out plea bargains with any parties related to the investigation involving businessman Nicky Liao Soon Hee. Bukit Aman Commercial Crime Investigation Department CCID Director Datuk Muhammad Kamarudin Muhammad Din said all probes and actions conducted were transparent in accordance with the law and did not protect the interests of any parties, while the charge sheet was also prepared as directed by the Attorneys General Chambers.
He added that the investigation on Liu, 34, began on March 15 last year in connection with his involvement in organized crime and cases under the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012 or SOSMA. Commenting further, Kamarudin said on September 30th last year, Liu was discharged not amounting to an acquittal by the Shah Alam High Court for the organized crime SOSMA case following an application from the AGC to wait for the results of the money laundering investigations. Yesterday, April 11th, Leo surrendered himself at the Bukit Aman CCID office and was subsequently detained. Today, Leo pleaded not guilty to 26 counts of money laundering and possession of illegal money, amounting to more than 36 million ringgit from 2016 to last year at the Sessions Court in Shah Alam.
Sam Kerr Ting was sentenced to 6 years in prison by the High Court for crashing into 8 teenagers riding their bicycles on a road here about 5 years ago. The decision was made by High Court Judge Dato Abu Bakar Qatar after the prosecution succeeded in their second appeal against the magistrate's court decision to acquit and discharge the 27-year-old woman on October last year.
Sam had been charged with reckless or dangerous driving, resulting in the death of 8 cyclists on Jalan Lingkaran Dalam, Johor Bahru on February 18, 2017. Sam, a clerk, was also ordered to serve 6 months in prison if she did not pay a 6,000 ringgit fine, apart from being disqualified from driving for 3 years, effective after the completion of her prison sentence. In his judgment, Abu Bakar said the magistrate's court had erred in failing to decide the respondent's defense without being under oath. Sam had earlier appeared at the Johor Bahru High Court compound at about 9 a.m. wearing a white striped shirt and brown long pants. Defense counsel Muhammad Faisal Mokhtar urged the High Court to grant a stay of execution on Sam, as they would be appealing the case at the Court of Appeal. However, Abu Bakar rejected Sam's appeal for stay of execution, as they have yet to receive approval from the Court of Appeal. Previously, Sam, who at the time of the incident was 22 years old, was accused of driving a car with registration number JQB9984 along Jalan Lingkaran Dalam recklessly or dangerously, resulting in the death of 8 cyclists at 3:20 a.m. The 8 victims involved were Muhammad Azri Danish Zulkefli, 14 at the time of the incident, Muhammad Shahrul Izwan Azuraimi, 14, Muhammad Firdaus Danish Muhammad Azhar, 16, Fauzan Halmijan, 13, Muhammad Azhar Amir, 16, Muhammad Harith Iskandar Abdullah, 14, Muhammad Shahrul Nizam Marudin, 14, and Haizat Kasrin, 16.
Now on to some global affairs. Ukraine's war-torn city of Mykolaiv was recently come under attack. Tigers, polar bears and elephants growl uneasily as they pace up and down their enclosures spattered with remnants of exploded rockets and the destruction they left behind in the 120-year-old Mykolaiv Zoo.
Страшно. Тоже страшно. Страшно за себя, за детей, за внуков. Это не передать. Ну и животных не кинешь, не уедешь никуда тоже. Если мы все поуезжаем, кто же за ними будет заботиться? Ну и выросли мы с ними. Я сама девочка сельская, я выросла и не предам. Уже что будет, то будет с нами. Может, это идет война.
А они у нас на руках практически, они этого не понимают. Мы все время с ними рядышком. Они все время у нас, они на втором этаже в креслах у нас, мы постоянно возле них. Все время их носим, мы их любим. Нюшенька у нас маленького котеночка здесь. Остапик тоже появился маленький. Почему он не Остап именно в сокращенном виде, а именно Остапик? Потому что он был просто крошечный такой.
The zoo houses dozens of rare species of animals, including 5 big cats.
Зоопарк в 1965 году. Мне было 12 лет. И вот с того времени я нахожусь в зоопарке. Старше меня только миссипский аллигатор, крокодил Вася. Работаю в зоопарке 44 года, директором 20 лет.
Mykolaiv Zoo was founded in 1901 and is considered to be one of the best in Ukraine and in Europe.
Нуру, Логан, ко мне, ко мне. Ой, хороший мальчик такой, мой сладенький.
Various items from space history, including the first lunar sample, will hit the auction block at Bonhams, New York on Wednesday, April 13. The highlight is the sample of lunar dust gathered by astronaut Neil Armstrong when he landed on the moon with the Apollo 11 mission in 1969, estimated to fetch between $800,000 and $1.2 million US.
Lunar samples are property of the U.S. government, property of the people. Because this sold through a government sale, it had fallen into private hands. It's very unusual. I've never seen another instance where this has happened.
Another item of interest is an original fragment from the rocket launcher that launched Sputnik 1 into space on October 4th, 1957, marking the start of the space race.
This is a piece of the Sputnik 1 launcher. Sputnik 1, of course, made it into space and it never came back. But the launcher, the early portion of the launcher actually exploded before it came back down in fragments. And this is one of those fragments, the only known fragment in private hands.
It is estimated to sell for between $80,000 to $120. Also hitting the auction block is a 1969 map of the moon signed by 15 astronauts, including Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, along with former President Richard Nixon and German-American aerospace engineer Werner von Braun.
One thing about a lot of these items is they really do connect people with the events, and especially like the moon dust, it represents a time when a government agency was able to gather all, some of the greatest minds of the time and focus them on one amazing achievement. And actually, we got someone to the moon.
And that concludes TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Have a good night.